help provide solutions to some of its greatest challenges. Impact Africa airs live every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. GMT at listenvisionlive.com. You can also catch previous episodes on iTunes and on the show's website, impactafricaonline.com. Connect with Impact Africa on Twitter and Facebook at @UImpactAfrica. Together, we'll discover that the real Africa is full of amazing talents and great opportunities. Welcome to Impact Africa. Africa has long been associated with needing aid and handouts. Today, you'll learn so much more about this wonderful continent from enlightening stories, people, and ideas. Now, here is your host, Tope Fajin Basi. Welcome.
Good morning. Welcome to Impact Africa. It's really great to be here again this year, and Happy New Year to all our viewers everywhere in the world. In Africa, good afternoon. In America, good morning. I hope 2015 brings us like glad tidings. It was a very challenging year for me personally last year, but I think even across the continent, it was also a very challenging year for many people. Today, we'll be recapping some of the major highlights of 2014, and perhaps we'll find some of the areas for, investing in Africa, investing our resources and our time in the continent in 2015, because I believe that it doesn't matter, what challenges that we face. What really matters is what kind of lessons that we learn from those challenges and how we see those challenges as an area for us to get involved in Africa. I want to start this morning by, looking at some of the top 10 projects that happened across Africa in 2014. I checked some news sites, especially Homestrings, a website that allows Africans, particularly Africans in diaspora, to invest in, development opportunities back home. And I found some very, exciting highlights, things that I didn't even know about. Some countries did major things, and I want to go through some of those major things in a couple minutes. One of the big things that happened in Africa, especially West Africa, was the Conakry-Bamako Highway. At the beginning of 2014, the African Development Bank opened its 17 million infrastructure project between Guinea's capital, Conakry, and Bamako in Mali. The transnational intercity highway is the only point of entry and exit between the two cities. Can you imagine? One of the logistic problems that we have that really hinders the flow of goods and services and even people across the West African, even across all of Africa really, is the lack of, infrastructure like roads. I've talked to so many people that are, doing e-commerce and things like that in Africa, and they talk, mainly about the fact that it's easy to get things to America, it's easy to get things to Europe, but it's so difficult to get anything to other West African countries or other East African countries. So I think projects like the Conakry-Bamako Highway would definitely open some doors. Yes, it costs $17 million. I don't know how cost effective that is, but the good news about this is that before the completion of the highway, breakdowns were rampant and drivers had to be on the road for days. But this 938-kilometer distance can now be covered within 12 to 16 hours. And more importantly, goods can be moved between Bamako and other areas in 30 minutes. So this, I think, is good for Africa. Another major project that was completed was the Abidjan Bridge in Côte d'Ivoire. One of the Côte d'Ivoire, this is a huge project, $300 million. Wow. But, this 592 meters long bridge is more of a complex than a motorway. What we discovered, what we read is that it's connecting the port area via an expressway, and goods can now go in and out of the country. And this is especially good for cocoa producers. And, Cote d'Ivoire is one of the world's biggest producers of cocoa. So if things, can move freely, I guess it might be, better for people within Cote d'Ivoire and outside. The only downside to this, according to my research, is that the construction was done by a French group called, I think, Bouges. I hope I'm pronouncing this properly. And they want to impose a toll of between $1 and $2. And this might be unaffordable to some people who are, going to need to use that bridge. Well, let's hope that people can get an increased level of sustenance and then be able to afford the bridge. And one project that I actually found that I'm not really proud of is the pirate prison in Somalia. I don't know if increased incarceration is something that we want to do, but, I don't know too much about the piracy problem in Somalia, so I'm just going to pass on this one. But so I'll go to number 4, Abuja Airport in Ethiopia. This airport is going to boost tourism and regional trade in East Africa. So I think it's exciting. And, a plane ticket costs about $200, return ticket in Ethiopia right now. So perhaps, with more flights, maybe that might affect prices a little bit, but definitely good for Ethiopia. A big one of my own personal highlights is perhaps the Kenyan solar project. Power problem in Africa is just a mess. I'm Nigerian, and just, the lack of productivity that we really experience when we discuss power issues just really frustrates me. So when I see African countries like Kenya really investing, in this area, I think it's definitely good. It's going to affect, every other sector that you can imagine. So this is the largest solar project in East Africa, and it has been completed in Kenya at the Williamson Tea Farm in Bomet County. The solar system will cut Williamson's tea energy costs by around 30%, supplying clean solar electricity during the daytime to meet most of the tea processing factory's energy demand, at a cost approximately 3 times lower than using an alternative diesel-generated power. I think this is absolutely phenomenal. Yes, we have a picture up of what this, is looking like right now. I'm so proud of Kenya. They're doing big things. And I'm hoping that somebody in Nigeria is watching this and, can invest in solar energy, because just the mere cost of diesel is just prohibitive to so many businesses. I do some business in Nigeria, and if we can have alternative power sources than running diesel, every day and every time, I think that would really be great, and so many other things happened. Well, another one that, I kind of have mixed reactions to is the Benguela Railway project in Angola. And it might be my bias because this is one of those Chinese projects in Africa, and I'm really not sure how to view the increased presence of China in Africa yet. I'm not sure if this is another level of slave trade, if we're going to be paying for this with our blood in the next 100 years. I'd rather see more African, indigenous companies funding some of these projects. But hey, well, I need to report this, that the China Railway Construction announced the completion of its second biggest railway project on the continent. And this is a 1,344-kilometer line connecting Angola's port towns with its inland cities, the Democratic Republic of Congo and Zambia. So I guess, again, this is solving some of, Africa's infrastructure problems. Goods and people can move across. Well, I just hope some of Africa's richest people can chip in and invest in some of this instead of us going to other countries. And moving on to the next one, natural gas plant in Ghana. Excellent idea. I think this is wonderful that, Ghana, I was kind of worried, with the advent of oil and all these things. I was kind of worried that Ghana might go the way of Nigeria and they will start getting cursed with the whole oil problem. But thankfully, they're looking at, investing some of that oil money and some of that, they're trying to prepare for the future with this natural gas plant in its capital, Accra. And I think, this will be a way to curb some of the power failure that was experienced in Accra sometime last year. So that's great. Number 8, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm already shaking my head. Akwa Ibom Football Stadium in Nigeria. So, we're going through top 10 projects that were completed in Africa. Ghana is talking about natural gas plants. They're talking about railway in Angola. solar power in Kenya, and Nigeria has to get on this list. And the only way we can get on is a football stadium. Really? Seriously? I know we're big on sports and all that, but I'm not sure how much value this adds to the myriad of issues that Nigeria faces right now. It would be really great to see things in the area of power, security, which was a huge issue last year. Road infrastructure, telecommunications improvement, and things like that. But I guess the $96 million project, might be a good idea. Maybe it will help tourism. It's apparently home to the national team, the Super Eagles, and it was completed in November 2014. So let's see what that does, for sports, tourism, and perhaps business in Nigeria this year. Moving on swiftly to number 9, Jasper Power Project in South Africa. Again, really excited to see these power projects going on around Africa. When this project is fully operational, it will supply enough power to about 80,000 households. This is a good start, and it's being financed by Solar Reserve, Inticon Energy, and Kensani Group. And this is great because we're seeing some local involvement in this. And we hope that this will curb some of the power shortages that South Africa was also experiencing. Finally, the Kilwa Dar pipeline in Tanzania, a 530-kilometer gas pipeline running from the coastal, Mtwara region and Songogo district in Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. It was completed in December, and I think this is going to be really, really, really excellent. It will be used to produce 3,900 megawatts of electricity through an installed capacity of 788 megawatts. I think this is great. It's good to see that so many countries in Africa, all across Africa, were thinking about power. This is perhaps one of the biggest hindrances to, doing business in Africa. If you go home regularly, you know that this is a step in the right direction. I'm hoping that so many other countries would follow suit. So, I'm hoping that when we recap 2015 in January 2016, we're going to see more improvements in the power sector, and definitely more investment in security, in healthcare infrastructure, because this was one of the challenges that we had in 2014. Healthcare literally just broke down. And we are hoping that when we, finish this year, we in the diaspora can actually go home, invest in some of these areas, and the continent will be better for it. We're going to take a short break now. When we come back, I will be joined by a very important guest, and we will recap some of the issues that happened in 2014 and some of the ways that you can get involved in Africa. Don't go away.
You are listening to Impact Africa. To connect with the program, please call 1-443-499-2755. That's 1-443-499-2755. You may also send an email to info@impactafricaonline.com or tweet @UImpactAfrica. Now, back to our show.
Welcome back to Impact Africa. I promised that I'll be joined by a very, very important guest after the break, and I have her here, Binta Terrier, originally from the Republic of Guinea. Welcome to Impact Africa.
Thank you, my sister. Thank you for having me.
I'm going to say a little bit about you. I'd heard so much about you from the White House Yes, I did hear about you from the White House, and Paulette of the Africa Memory Game also told me about you. So I'm just really honored, and it's really a pleasure, to have you here today. And you're from Guinea, but you're married to a Frenchman.
Yes.
We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But you're with the Partnership League for Africa's Development, PLAD, which is a grassroots organization of Africans and Friends of Africa worldwide that believe human rights issues can be best addressed through improving social development, good governance, rule of law, and democracy. You focus on health, agriculture, education, and environment.
Yes.
First of all, so let me start from the Frenchman thing. What is with you Francophone, Africans and French people?
Well, first, I'm really honored to be here.
Thank you so much.
It's so uplifting to see a sister like you doing this kind of work, because this communication is the key, and that's what we lack. We do not communicate enough. And this is a forum where we can really discuss some of our very highly important issues, and we can also chat.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to do with this, just to chat and get our voices heard by our own people, on issues that really concern us. So yeah.
Let me first start by saying one thing that you probably don't know
is
that I actually work for the International Monetary Fund.
I saw that on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yes.
But the International Monetary Fund has nothing to do with PLAD.
Yes.
All right. It's just that some of us get so sick and tired of what we're saying, we decided to actually take advantage of the UN Declaration of Human Rights, the right to express yourself, the right to advocate for your people, and the right to help improve social development and social issues in Africa. So then some of us decided to create PLAD.
Fantastic.
That will look at Africa, the entire continent, not a village, sub-village.
Yeah.
Or whether
you're making
you
me
are
emotional. Yes.
Exactly, because you see, the problem is in Africa is not lack of resources. I mean by resources, human resources. Money is not a problem.
Yeah.
It's just disorganization, a coordination failure. What we call in economics coordination failure. That's what we are suffering about.
Yes.
And you bringing ego. Everybody has an ego.
Everybody's an island of egos.
I'm
Nigerian.
Look,
this is our stock in trade.
You see, so this is really the biggest hindrance, and you can look at it from any level you want. Coordination failure in economics, that's what we call. If we can just get our act together and work together, it doesn't matter what each one of us is doing. It doesn't matter what is important for us. But when it comes to Africa, let's look at the Israelis. All right.
Wow.
The Jewish community, look at how well organized they are.
Extremely organized. Even in their immigrant communities. Unreal.
Look, even the president of the United States of America is invited to the Jewish community when he's elected.
Yes.
And do you know how many people organize that? 4 people.
Oh my goodness. It is unreal.
4
It
people.
is unreal. It is
and
unreal.
Here we are. We have all these NGOs floating around. We have all this goodwill. Everybody is working very hard. But for the life of me, I don't understand why we cannot come together.
Yes. Honestly, I don't understand. But how can we bridge that gap? Because this is starting 2015, and we need to get. I've seen so many people doing brilliant, excellent work, but everybody seems to be on their own. And one of the things that I'm hoping that we can do with Impact Africa this year is that the website can be a place where you can get resources and get connected. People can go on there and say, I'm looking for an NGO run by Africans that is doing work in Guinea, Mali, Nigeria, and you can get that on our website, and you can get connected to the people.
That is so wonderful. That is so wonderful. You see, I was listening to your earlier intervention on solar energy.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw an interview that I did with Voice of America on solar energy, Obama's Power Africa project, where, you see, the problem is Africa has become a pit of money. Everybody's throwing money, but the way it's done is not benefiting anybody except consultant.
Yes.
You see, so something like that, for instance, I've heard that there are many Africans also in the community, in the diaspora, who are into solar. You hear bits and pieces. So why can't all these people come together and work together, do one project, one solar project together? You see, even my NGO, PLAD, we started this solar energy thing. Okay. what we did is that 2 years ago we contacted a gentleman, a scientist called Richard Comp. Okay, Dr. Comp is the guru of solar. All right, he's based in Maine. He taught MIT, and now what he does, he goes around the world and empower people, women, in Latin America, in India, how to build their own solar cook ovens.
Wow.
You don't need gas, you don't need oil, you don't need coal to cook. You use the solar cell, solar energy to cook.
Excellent.
And not only that, they build their own solar panels.
Wow.
You see, so we are working with Dr. Comp right now, and what PLAD did is to connect him with some brothers in Ghana who are interested in taking him there to teach Ghanaians how to build their own solar cells.
Wow.
You see, it's not just somebody coming and doing it for us. It's somebody coming and teaching our people how to do it so they can do it themselves. That's what we call transfer technology.
Wow.
So he went to Ghana, and he was even on Radio Ghana. And I mentioned that to the representative of Ghana at the embassy here, because Ghana does not have an ambassador at the moment. But I met with her. I explained to her, I said, we are sending Dr. Comp there to train some Ghanaians on how to manufacture, how to create their own solar panels. Okay?
Yes.
So now we are working on a project for Mali. So our goal is, first of all, we got some company that has given us cables for free.
Wow.
And then Dr. Comp is helping us get the solar cells, the broken solar cells that companies don't use anymore. We are collecting those, and we are teaching people. I took the training myself to have an idea.
I want to take the training too. Maybe I'll go teach people in Nigeria how to do this.
Yeah, to have an idea of how to do it. You see, I have my own solar little panel that I myself put together. Okay?
Oh, wow.
So now
maybe this is my final intervention to science. I will be able to finally do something, a scientific project. That is excellent.
Yeah, when you go to Africa, I put it by the window, and from the energy, I charge my battery.
Excellent.
So I'm carrying it. It's like a picture frame.
No kidding.
I'm telling you.
My goodness, you should.
You can do it. It's no magic.
You would have to teach me this. I'm taking notes about this. Oh my goodness.
And you don't. The good thing about it, you don't know how to read or write to do this. Dr. Comp has broken it down to this level where you don't have to even know how to read and write to do it. I'm telling you, next year we are going to Mali. We are training 45 people.
Wow.
How to do it.
Wow.
And then we'll move on after Mali. So the goal is the following, is that if we train 45 people in Mali, why Mali? Because Mali just came out through a horrible problem.
Yes.
And it just so happened that the son of the president of Mali, Boubacar, was part of PLAD before his father became president.
Oh, excellent.
And he moved, there. And we think it will be easy, facilitate the bureaucratic problems.
And that might be a problem.
Exactly, because then that will help. So we cut in corners. This way you don't have to go through all these myriad of bureaucratic problems of getting access to the people.
Yes.
And then we have identified 2 villages, and we will go there with Dr. Comp as soon as
When are we going to Mali? Because I'm going with you.
We are going to Mali as soon as Mali is cleared from Ebola and all these things. Because we don't want, because Dr. Comp is an elderly man.
Yes.
He's an elderly white man who is not as resistant as we are. We don't want him to go there and get into trouble.
Yes,
Yeah, so you see, so after we train those 40 people, and our hope is to use those 40 people to train others in Africa. You see, we're going to do a chain effect. Once we trained about 300 people, then we'll go after our millionaires and billionaires and ask them to build a solar cell factory somewhere in Africa to manufacture the cells.
Absolutely.
Because see, all these business people that you see, all these traders in our little shacks, they will be able to put solar panels on their roofs and have energy to sell their goods.
My head is working overtime because, my friends and I, we run a non-profit in Nigeria called United for Kids Foundation. One of the things that we have issues with, major issues, is energy. We have libraries, and to power our generators to run the libraries, just to have a fan working, it's terribly expensive.
Okay. My sister, with Dr. I've seen it. I saw it in India. I saw it in Latin America. You have to see the wonders Dr. Comp has done, all right?
Wow.
And you have people who were, gardeners. who took advantage of his training. He's doing this pro bono. He doesn't take a penny. All right?
Wow.
All you pay is for his plane ticket, and he hates hotels. He doesn't live with a family. He eats our food, okay? He can travel on our donkeys. He can travel on our cart. He doesn't care. All right, he just wants to impart his knowledge, transfer of knowledge, transfer of technology. He's worried about the environment. He's worried about what is going to become of the next generation.
And the fumes that we have to, in Nigeria, Nigeria is where I'm familiar with. You get to every house and the noise pollution alone from the generators can kill you. Okay, so some now have they can silence it, but still the damage to the environment is unreal.
So we believe strongly that with Dr. Camp we can do something, and this is what PLAD is. We are action oriented. We don't just talk.
Fantastic.
Enough of the talking. We Africans are so good at talking. We can talk till daybreak. All right, everybody has bright ideas, but how to implement these bright ideas is the problem.
It's about doing.
It's doing. All right. When we say something, we do it. So I guarantee you, my sister, in 3 years' time, we will be able to train at least 300 people. And by those 300 people, after that, then we go after our people who have the money. You know how much it takes to build a solar factory in Africa? $1.2 million.
Wow.
Now, what is $1.2 million? All right. And you know what are the inputs, the ingredients to manufacture solar cell? Because the only thing that we don't have in Africa is the cell itself. You know that shiny thing?
Yes.
You know what you need to manufacture that? You need sand, salt water, that is seawater, and the sun.
Oh my goodness. That simple?
That's all you need. And somebody to show you how to do it. And Dr. Pokompa is willing to do it. And $1.2 million.
Honestly, I'm very glad that we're talking about this on the 3rd day of the year. Because I'm putting it in my project. That when you're going to Mali, I want to go. I want to see how this is done. I want to see how we can take this across other parts of Africa. Because once we solve the issue of power, and in a very efficient and cheap and accessible way.
Small-scale way of doing it.
Yes, I'm telling you, we've crossed the major barriers.
This is where we're going, my sister. This is where we're going. This is exactly where we're going. Dr. Camp and us. He came here when I learned about Dr. Camp. I was in India. What happened? I was sitting in India in a village. Walking into that village, there was nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. Okay, worse than Africa, okay? Worse than Africa. And at night, I was in this, these old palaces of the Maharajas was rebuilt into hotels. I happened to be staying there. I fell asleep because of the jet lag. I woke up. I looked out the window. I thought it was a mirage. Light everywhere. I said, but where did this light come from? I asked the driver, I said, where is this coming from? He said, well, it's from solar energy. I said, but where is the light bulb hanging on? Because I didn't see any hard card in any hard home. I said, take me there. He said, no, I look Indian, let's go. So we went there. The light bulb, the solar can, the Coke can.
Yes.
The Coke can, after you drink the soda, was cut into two and was used as a socket to hold the light bulb.
Wow.
And it was hanging on a tree.
Wow.
It was hanging on a tree. And that's what was generating light. And the panel was on top of a pole that was put in the middle of the yard, and it was on top of that. I said, but who taught you how to do this? Then this lady came out, and she explained to me that a gentleman taught some of the Indian youth how to do this, and then they also taught them.
Wow.
At night, she take the light bulb, she put it. During the day, she remove it so people don't steal it.
Sounds just like Lagos to me. Wow, that is excellent. This is great, and honestly, I think that this really right here is the reason why Impact Africa exists, so that we can learn this and do this. We're going to take a very short break now. When we come back, we're going to pick up from this conversation, and we're going to talk about when we're going to Mali.
Okay.
Don't go away. There's a very beautiful song that I found yesterday, that I refound actually, that I'm going to play on the show today. So please listen to this by Miriam Makeba.
All right.
Excellent. And we'll be right back after that.
Mm-hmm.
sunset lights up the sky. A magical moment of life passing by. Romantic rhythms that beat through the night. Mother Nature's gift for you and I. Africa is my home. Don't you know that home is where my heart lies? Across the ocean into the African sky, through the hills and valleys, over the mountains. Africa is where my heart lies. A new day dawns upon our land, breathing life for the creation of man, holding treasures of beauty given for all. The African dream that touches the soul. A motherland now. Don't you know that home is where my heart lies? Across the ocean into the African skies, through the hills and valleys, over the mountains. Africa is where my heart lies. This is where I'll stay. The birthplace of my heart. Don't you know that home is where my heart lies? Across the oceans into the African skies, through the hills and valleys, over the mountains. Africa is where my heart lies. Home is where my heart lies. Across the ocean into the African skies, through the hills and valleys, over the mountains. Africa is where my heart lies. Home is where my heart lies. Across the ocean into the African skies, through the hills and valleys, over the mountains. Africa is where my heart lies.
You are listening to Impact Africa. To connect with the program, please call 1-443-499-2755. That's 1-443-499-2755. You may also send an email to info@impactafricaonline.com or tweet @UImpactAfrica. Now, back to our show.
Welcome back to Impact Africa. And honestly, that song just touched me yesterday. Africa is where my heart lies. It just says it all. Miriam Makeba, wonderful as usual. And it also gave me an opportunity to chat with you a little bit during the break. And I am just like ready to go to Mali right now. I'm ready.
You are welcome.
Yes,
let's all go.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
And you know, but we're talking about a project that's coming up, you know, in March in Abuja in Nigeria.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about Music Unite Africa.
Music Unite Africa is the most uplifting thing that I ever heard about. You see, last year in July, in September, PLAD did a concert here at Constitution Hall. At Warner Theatre on land grab in Africa. As you know, we PLAD believe that the way land acquisition is done in Africa is not to the benefit of Africans. We may end up being recolonized because people who can decide, if somebody owns your land for 100 years, 99 years, 70 years, can decide what to grow. The person who decides what to grow can decide what you eat. Because the person who grows it and farm it is the one who owns it, is the one who can decide at what price to sell it. So we are concerned that our people will turn to become laborers in their own land.
Tell me.
If you look at what is happening since 2008, when food prices went up the skies, everybody is now scrambling to go and buy land in Africa. And that is, we want people to understand we are for foreign direct investment. We think foreign direct investment is fantastic, provided that people who also live on that land can benefit from it.
Absolutely.
You see, it seems like Africans no longer own their mining. If their land, agricultural land also is taken away from them, what is left? So PLAD tried to highlight this danger and the instabilities it will create, and how maybe we in Africa, all African countries, should come up with a way land acquisition rules and regulations that are compatible to international standards.
Absolutely.
India did it. I don't understand why Africa cannot do it.
Yeah.
You see, to just cater to our former colonies is not in our interest.
No.
It's good to scream that our leaders are corrupted, but then if our leaders are corrupted, why is it that the Western world is helping maintain that corruption? You see, so we try to highlight that, and we say, as friends of Africa also, if you want the instability to stop, because, you know, this adopted country of ours, United States, is a great country, but the U.S. doesn't have the resources to fight extremists all over the world at the same time.
No, and there's no motivation to do it either.
So it's in our duty also to help, you know, high flag problem before they hit the ground, to help those who are truly helping Africa. So the best way to do, went to Congress, were received by the Office of Congressman Chris Smith, who's the one actually who oversees human rights issues. And we appealed to members of Congress to really look into this land grab issue. And who are the companies who are involved in this? And how are they accessing this land? First of all, how do they know where to go to get the land? Is it, who tells them? How do they find out? Is it, so, and how does this go? Is it our leaders? Is it our villagers? How is it, what is happening, you know, to help us sort this out? And then after that, we said, fine, now we need to really, because people may not be focusing on this. We are all struggling in our daily life in the United States, in Europe, and whatnot. You know, so
and life is going by. Lands are being, you know, acquired, and you know, acquisition is going on.
It's going on. Yes. By the time we wake up, boom, we are recolonized again. So we said the best way to do that is to flag this through music.
Fantastic.
Music is an international language, has no barriers. Yes. Anybody can relate to it. So we called on our you know, some of the best artists in Africa. One of them, Femi Kuti.
Oh, I missed that. I cannot imagine. September, you know, there was a lot going on, but I missed that. But I'm hoping that the one that's coming up in March in Abuja, I'm going to be there.
Yeah, I'm getting to that. How did that came about? It's for you to see that the Africans starting really to come together. We are really coming together. So then we invited Femi Kuti, Didi Awadi, and Chrysolite, South Africa, and Hanisa Solomon, Ethiopia. You see, you know, we invited everybody from all to come. And it was really a successful thing because we highlighted the problem, and then Queen Mother of Harlem came in also, and you know, some of our friend of Africa. We invited some journalists who showed up. You know, others didn't show up. You know, we invited all our diplomatic community, and then it turned out that Ambassador Adam, who is a youth ambassador. You know, the United Nations like to give this ambassadorship title to some young people who have, you know, dedicated themselves to some important social issues. And his group also were organizing to empower the youth in Africa. And he heard about what we were doing. And he was very impressed. And they reached out to us and say, because we plan to do this in every country.
Fantastic.
You know, and then so if we could, you know, do this together, we could partner on this project.
Fantastic.
Because instead of duplicating effort, which I thought was fantastic, I had never heard of this young man or his group before.
Fantastic.
It turned out that we are doing something fantastic. You see, the goal is to empower the African youth to take their future in their own hands, to try and do what they can do.
Yes.
Basically,
yes.
that's what it is. So this concert now is set up for the last week of March 2015.
Fantastic.
I think it's going to be on the 27th, Friday the 27th, and the 29th. And artists are invited from all over Africa.
Nice.
You know, including Akon will be there.
Hey, I'm going to be front and center.
Yeah, and you know, the son of Bob Marley will be there.
Fantastic.
Damian Marley will be there.
Oh, excellent.
And many others, and also Femi Kuti and Didi Awadi, and then they're all going to be there. So now we just
all
have
roads lead to Abuja.
Yeah, I said the important thing is that to get the youth to show up.
Yes.
For them to come. This is about them. This is not about me or our NGO. And we're trying to make our leaders understand that the youth has to be involved in any decision-making process.
And music is the best way to get the voices of the youth out there.
Exactly.
They show up I was researching really this morning. I was reading news about top 10 entertainers in Africa in 2014 and how much they earned. I was like, oh my goodness, I just have no music skills. Because if I did, I heard 10 million naira is what P Square commands in Nigeria to do a concert. And in America, they charge about $100,000. And I was looking at some of the Nigerian artists selling out stadiums in Rwanda. So when you bring, you know, music, the youth show up, and I think this is an excellent strategy to get them out. But if I want to get involved, where is the website for people to, you know, get involved with this? Because March is around the corner.
Okay, we have it on our website, which is allafr.org.
Allafr.org, and we will tweet this. Allafr.org.
Allafr.org.
Yeah.
And from there also, you could access Music Unite Africa's website.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay, though they update their website or consistently, we have left it on our main page for consistency, because so people don't have to search for it everywhere.
Absolutely.
But from our website, you can link directly to Music Unite Africa's website as well.
Allafr.org. And Impact Africa, we want to support this, and we want to make sure that we keep on, you know, telling people about it. And what we're going to do is that we're going to take a break right now, and on the other side, Africa 101 is back.
Wonderful.
Is back. You're going to, you know, we're going to test the IQ knowledge of a caller and the Africa IQ of a caller, and then we're going to see, you know, maybe you can help him out. Who knows?
I don't know.
But don't go away. We'll be right back.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
You are listening to Impact Africa. To connect with the program, please call 1-443-499-2755. That's 1-443-499-2755. You may also send an email to info@impactafricaonline.com or tweet @UImpactAfrica. Now, back to our show.
Welcome back to Impact Africa, and this is so exciting. Africa 101 is back. And today, the questions are compiled by Tope Oyebolu, a candidate for a master's degree in international media at the American University here in DC. And the contestant is Mr. Olajide Mustapha, a staff auditor at Maryland Office of Legislative Audit, originally from Nigeria. Mr. Mustapha, are you on the phone?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. So the rule is we're going to see how many questions you can get correct answers to in the next 5 minutes, okay?
Okay.
All right, so the clock has started, and we're talking about Patrice Lumumba, an African hero today. Let's go. Question number 1. Patrick Lumumba was born on July 2nd, 1925 in Belgian Congo, now Democratic Republic of Congo. True or false?
True.
Okay, correct. Lumumba was the first prime minister of the DRC from June to September 1960, or from June 1958 to September 1960, which is correct?
I think it was in power for about a month in 1960.
Is it?
So it should be. So it's June 1960 to September 1960.
September 1960, correct. You're correct. You're correct. Number 3. What year was Patrice Lumumba killed? 1961 or 1960?
1961.
What did you say?
1961.
1961, correct. Oh my goodness, you're doing well.
Okay, good.
Who was the president when Lumumba was prime minister of Congo? A. Joseph Kasa Vubu or Mose Sombe?
I think the first one, Joseph something. The first one.
Joseph Vubu, correct. What country colonized Lumumba's home country? A. France, B. Belgium.
Belgium.
Correct. Wow, you're halfway there, and you've only spent 2 minutes.
Okay, good.
At Congo's independence, Lumumba gave a speech thanking the Belgians for their magnanimity. True or false?
False.
Correct. Number 7. Who did Lumumba call upon for support after the UN refused to help quell the rebellion in Katanga? A. The Soviet Union. B. The United Kingdom.
The Soviet Union.
Correct. Wow, you're not doing badly at all. And number 8. Who led the coup that overthrew Lumumba in 1960? A. Joseph Désiré Mobutu. B. Mose Sombe.
I think Joseph Désiré Mobutu.
Correct. And he later became Mobutu Sese Seko. And we all know what havoc he wreaked. 2 more questions to go, and we'll see if you're a champion. What war allegedly influenced the U.S. to push for Lumumba's assassination? A. The Cold War. B. World War I.
The Cold War.
Correct. And the final question, and you still have 2 minutes on the clock. What is the full name of the MNC, the organization that Lumumba helped to establish? A. Movement for New Congo. B. Movement National Congolais.
Movement National, it's in French, so it should be Movement National Congolais.
Correct. And you have all 10 questions correct.
Do I get $1 million?
Well, no, but you get bragging rights for the next 1 week, and we'll see if the next contestant next week can do better than you. But thank you so much for participating.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
I thought you were going to... you weren't going to get some questions, so I was asking him yesterday if he wanted to use an alias. He said, no, I'm just going to use my real name.
Good. Very good.
So once again, our contestant today was Mr. Olajide Mustapha. He is originally from Nigeria, and he did very well talking about Patrice Lumumba. And the questions were compiled by Tope Oyebolu of American University. If you want to test your Africa IQ on the show, send an email to info@africa-impact.com. Thank you so much to our contestant, and thank you to Tope. We're really, really hoping that this, new Africa 101 can help us learn to engage Africa better. So thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. So welcome back to Impact Africa. That was exciting.
Yeah, it was very exciting. And it's really good because at least we can keep our history alive.
Absolutely,
In this
absolutely.
way, because many people who, particularly even us, our children who are born here,
Yes.
they don't know any of these things.
You know, even until I started, looking at these quizzes, I didn't know many of this stuff.
Exactly. We were never taught this at school.
No, and I'm wondering why I didn't know about Patrice Lumumba. This was a Pan-Africanist, and we need to know these people. Whether some people, these people are, some people don't like them, some people like them, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
They are all a part of African history.
It's good to know whether they're good or bad. It's good to know the good one, the bad one. Look how much. Look everything we know about Hitler.
I know, exactly.
We know so much about Hitler more than Patrice Lumumba. You see?
Exactly, and I was so surprised to learn that Patrice Lumumba was only prime minister for about 3 months.
Yes, and yet he did so much.
So much, until today people are still talking about him, because by the time he left, Nigeria was just getting its independence, and so 50 years after, we're still talking about him, we're still learning about him, and there's just so much history, to know. Next week we're going to be talking about Kwame Nkrumah.
And Kwame Nkrumah, do you know Kwame Nkrumah died in Guinea?
Oh, really?
He stayed in Guinea for many years, and it's so interesting because the place where he stayed, it was the second floor of a high-rise building, and it was right in front of where my aunt lived.
Wow!
And I will stand there. I will see this man at the balcony waving to us. We wave. I had no clue how important he was.
Oh my goodness!
I was very young. You see, we just wave,
no autograph, nothing.
We had no clue who he was.
Wow.
It was later, and then when he died, because nobody tells us anything. They don't tell anything about any of these big people.
My goodness, that is insane. I've been to the place where he was buried, and of course the crowd to get there day in, day out is unreal.
Yeah,
wow.
Either I know he lived in Guinea. Let me correct myself. I'm not sure whether he died there or not, but he lived in Guinea for many years.
And I think they probably brought him back.
Brought him back, yeah.
Wow.
He was I had no idea who he was.
Oh my goodness, there's so much to learn. There's so much to learn. And honestly, this is, again, I keep saying this is why we're trying to do this. And 1 hour each week is not enough to even do justice to, all the things going on. But I'm happy to have conversations with people like you who are not just, talking. You're doing stuff, and that is inspiring to me, and that is what Impact Africa is about, to inspire people who are watching, to say, what, that solar project that they want to go and do in Mali, we're going to take it to Congo, we're going to take it to Ghana, we're going to take it to Nigeria. That's what I want people to get from from this.
And one thing is that we Africans have to stop being afraid.
Yes.
We live in this country, in the United States. Nobody can attack you for advocating for your people, for trying to protect the interests of your people, and even the interests of the country where we live in.
Exactly, because it's part of us, and and being African, it has to be a deliberate choice. It's not just about where you're born. It's about who you are, and Africa is where our hearts should always lie.
Exactly.
Regardless of where we stay, we might be in the comforts of DC and all that stuff, but we're still African, within our hearts. So we're going to do big things together, and of course we have run out of time. But you have to be back.
I will gladly be back.
You have to be back. And definitely we're going to support the Music Unite Africa project, the one that is going to be in Abuja. And we're going to keep updating people about this.
Wonderful.
So, definitely please feel free to reach out to Impact Africa and feel free to, make this home.
No problem at all. And I'll connect you with Adam.
Good, fantastic.
Adam, the head of the spokesperson for Music Unite Africa.
Fantastic.
And maybe you will be able to.
And maybe I can just get my Femi Kuti's autograph. I'll be okay. And definitely see you in Abuja as well in March.
I will be there.
Yes.
I will be there.
Thank you so much for watching Impact Africa, for joining us again this week. We hope that this is going to be an inspiring year for all of us, and that we're going to really make Africa what it's supposed to be this year. Happy New Year once again, and until we meet again next week, please keep impacting Africa. Good morning.
Thank you for tuning in to Impact Africa. Please join us again next Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. GMT at listenvisionlive.com. Have a good week and keep impacting Africa.